Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. I am your host, Chris Eaton. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we got a guest on here that I'm quite excited. This is, I'm getting old, so I can officially say this young whippersnapper here is taking the world of Kaiju news by storm. And I am honored to have him. Sir, introduce yourself for the people at home who are listening to this and can't see your face.
What's up, guys? My name's Jacob Lyngle. It rhymes with Chris Kringle for you older people out there. I run Kaiju United. A lot of fun stuff going down on that. Social media, website. We do news, articles, interviews, reviews. Pretty much anything you can think of. We just pretty much want to be like Dread Central or Bloody Disgusting, but really zone in on that kaiju stuff because we need some experts out there. Not that there aren't, because we have Chris here, but we just want to give it a little love. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been a fun journey, and you're right. I turned 27 last week, so I'm getting up there in age. Carbon dating. But
dude, once you start rocking the gray, then as they said in 302, then you can sit. You have a seat at the table. But no, man, like seriously, I'm glad to finally have you on. I have been beyond impressed with the work that you guys have done in such a short time. It's I ran a website with my good buddy about going on 15 years ago, and I know the endless amount of work and tireless effort that goes into it just to kind of crest over, just even to peek over the fence, if you will. So see how fast you guys have risen and like how much you guys have gotten out there. Like it just brings joy to my heart as someone who, I stepped away from that, the Kaiju Kingdom podcast, we never intended to be a website. It was always supposed to be audio, video, and then the social media aspect of it just kind of blew up. But you guys are actually putting the work in. I mean, I know what it's like sitting there, like coming home from work, from your day job, and like I got like 20 news pieces to write. I got op-ed articles, all that fun stuff. And by the time you realize it's 1 a.m, and guess what? You go to bed, get up, start it all over again. So bravo.
You just explained it. You just explained it. I appreciate it, man. Like even today, like as of the day we were recording this, I was up till 2 a.m. I wrote that Gamera drop, and then I scheduled. I pretty much scheduled out every post on our socials, just so I didn't have to deal with it today.
As you should. It's that's the smart way of doing it. Like you throw it all out there once, it gets lost in. Like it is an intricate web of deceits, and there's a minotaur at the end of that maze. Like no, you didn't post enough, or you didn't post properly. So these three stories have disappeared into the ether.
Dude, and you did it a while ago, but now like you're at the mercy of the algorithm and stuff.
Oh,
whole different rabbit hole. Different rabbit hole. You got like search engine optimization. That's why for those listening, like that's why those sites like Screen Rant have really funky titles. Clickbait. It's because they're maximizing that SEO and getting really high rankings, but at what cost? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I hate it. I hate what the internet's. Look, man, I was, on. I guess you would call it. Wasn't in internet 1.1. I think I was the beginning of the 2.0 generation with AOL. So back in the Wild West days when it was just fun and like people, you had to go like your only search options were maybe GeoCities had like a little search button in it, and then Yahoo. That was it. And then Ask Jeeves came around, and everyone in my junior high would type in dumb stuff to Ask Jeeves, and of course the guys at the programmers were like, hey, there's gonna be a bunch of stupid kids asking stupid questions, so we had to have stupid answers to be smart asses back to them. So that was the fun times, the Wild West. And now we live in the age of social media and stuff, and I don't know, like every day I start believing that dead internet theory. And I'm like, it's not. Yeah, I'm like, it's not as fun as it used to be, man. spend up all night looking for ghost sites and watching, 3 parts of Invader Zim on early YouTube, because you can only upload 15 minutes at a time, because that's the only way you could do it back then. It was fun. It was exciting. And now it's just like, yeah, I believe it. Oh, the heck is it blanking? Guy that drove the Campbell soup. Oh God! See, this is what happens when you get old. You start blank. You have something at the tip of your tongue. Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol
Oh
famously said,
yeah.
"Everyone's going to have their 15 minutes of fame," and he didn't live long enough to actually see it come true. Like, it was prophetic of the day and age we live in. So, but we're not here to talk about dead internet theory and
That was a rabbit hole. Yeah, that was a
yeah. And going down the rabbit hole of like creepy ghost videos and stuff back in the day was much fun. We're here to talk about kaiju. And most importantly, normally at this time of the year, Jessica and I recap our misadventures, trotting across this great country of ours, because normally Gfest and Comic-Con are like back to back, and we do both. Unfortunately, this year we could not attend Gfest. We were really bummed, but we both had a ton of stuff that came up that just pretty much, just made it impossible to be there. But that's why I asked Jacob on, because he was there. And not only was he there, he and his team were in force. And I was here in my home in Texas just looking at him like, man, you guys are just hammering coverage left and right. So that's one of the main, other than getting the man himself on, because we've spent late nights at Gfest talking, sharing tales like Vikings of yore. But I want to get this man's prowess on, because I was beyond impressed by the coverage you and your team did. And you were there front row center for what looked like a awesome Gfest. And the fact that like Tsuburaya was in force there, they brought the suits. That was the biggest. I'm like, they brought the suits.
Did.
Damn
it! They brought the suits. They had, they had a Gyrus suit, which was crazy, or Gyros, however you want to say it. Like, they really showed up. I mean, we'll go into it, but I think my personal opinion, at least, is Tsuburaya kind of carried this year. Like, they injected a little bit more energy in the Gfest. They had the stage shows at Hiroko Sakurai. It was just a lot of fun. And to have them get their own room where it was just Ultraman stuff happening all day, all weekend, genius. I love it.
Which room did they give him this year?
So this year, they moved a bunch of stuff around. So they used the first big move, I'll say, is the dealer's room moved, which was like a huge shift. So where those elevators are in the Hyatt, where there's like 4 pillars, if you go next to the registration desk, or at least the floor underneath, I believe.
So that ballroom off to the side. Oh, yeah, wow.
That's what I'm thinking of. Sorry, I was blanking on the directions there. But that ballroom off to the left wing is the new dealer's room, at least for this year. So then what used to be sessions 1 and 2, where we would do panels, sessions 1 became Dojo Studios. And then behind Dojo Studios was Ultraman. So it was like they were like kind of connected, which is kind of cool. Tokusatsu suits everywhere. And then they shifted down the panel rooms. So like the next room's over, we had sessions 1 and sessions 2. And then where Dojo used to be at the end of that floor, at the very end by those glass doors, is what they're now calling Artist Alley, which is interesting.
Yeah. Considering the rigmarole that happened a couple of years ago about Artist Alley. So it sounds like some. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, and I'm not like making a weird assumption here. There was banners on display that said Artist Alley this way, so it's back. I would say it's back.
Okay, it sounds like some positive changes. Well, we'll save that for an off camera talk. But yeah, so it sounds like I mean, you were there last year? I was there last year, and I was blown away by the attendance of the show last year. Was it about as big this year, or was it bigger?
I think it was bigger.
Wow.
When I talked to Peyton Lees, for those who don't know, she's in charge now of Gfest. The pre-sales last year, when we talked about 2.5 weeks before the show, was at 7,000. Just in pre-registration. This is not people just showing up with little Timmy buying tickets for Saturday. Hey, it's the weekend. Let's go check it out. This is people in advance, pre-registration, 7,000. The ballpark I heard for this year was closer to 9.
Wow.
I've heard 9 and I've heard 10, so I'm gonna play safe and go 9. It's pretty crazy.
That's absolutely insane, man. I mean,
I'm gonna tell you this.
Here's a good. Okay.
I'll go ahead.
No. Finish your thought.
I'll go. So this year, I did not get to enter the dealer's room until Sunday. There was a line wrapped around the elevators all day Friday, all day Saturday.
Whoa.
There was no go unless you wanted to stand in line, and the lines moved pretty quick because David Nunes does a pretty good job. But it was just there were so many people that wanted to go in there and buy stuff that, like, the only time I could just walk into the dealer's room and check it out was Sunday, and that was an hour before it closed. So I feel really bad for all the vendor people that I love and adore that, you know, I'd like to support, but it was a line. There was a lot of lines.
Wow.
There was a line for Artist Alley.
Oh, wow.
There was a line to get in there. Yeah, there was a line like going down to registration for Artist Alley. That's crazy. There's lines all over the place.
Nearly 10K for a Godzilla show. That it blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. I mean, the first show I went to was when they came out to California those 2 years back in 99 and 2000. And I mean, they held the first show in Burbank where Monsterpalooza used to be held. And I think then they had maybe like 3,000 people, if that. And it still felt like, oh, you know, we're a little bit of a tight room because that little Marriott Convention Center it's not that big. It holds, you know, it's one giant dealer's room and then like there's a couple small side rooms. So they moved it to the Roosevelt the year after in downtown, like in Hollywood proper. That was not a great venue. So I understand why they went back to Chicago because if after that year, I at like 17 years old, I was like, you could have done better. There's a lot of better places out in the greater LA area. You could have done this, but sure, why not? But you know, going back to the Crown, when Jessica and I were there for like maybe the last 4 years they held it there. And then now to the new location at the Hyatt, I thought it was like, man, this is a great upgrade. But even last year I was like, oh, you guys are going to have to start upgrading soon.
They outgrew the Hyatt, dude.
I can't believe that. They're there for 3 years and they outgrew it. I mean, I noticed it was a great testament because, you know, Gfest is that place of like everyone gets together once a year during the summer. You know, they hang out. Everyone has their groups. Everyone says hi. There's people I don't see all year that I only see at Gfest. And I understand it's a camaraderie show. But last year, just watching Saturday and just families roll in from the greater Chicago area, or at least driving in from like Indiana and the surrounding states, I was like, oh, okay, this is very different because most of these people weren't here afterwards because they're clearly not staying at the hotel. And it's just so many little kids now. And like the Grinch I am, my heart grew 3 times bigger. And I was just watching all these little kids. They're like 7, 8. And they're like, I need Baragon and I need Megalon. And I'm just like the single tear rolling down my face. I'm like, oh, you don't know how good you have it. You children, please appreciate this. Appreciate it.
Hey, I guess I could say I was one of those kids because my first Gfest was 2012, and I was 14. So I wasn't tiny, but I was still a kid. So seeing it now at 27 and seeing the next generation show up, it's amazing. It's wonderful. Like I don't need to buy any of those figures. Like just let those kids have fun and buy them, man. It's cool. Like
exactly. That's the thing. I've been, I'm part of so many collector groups. If you've seen my Instagram, I post a bunch of nonsense. It's a lot of weather videos because I'm that weird dude that's obsessed with the weather and stuff. But I also post a lot of toy stuff, like when I'm out and about and I'm bored. Let me walk into Target and see and scream at the Marvel Legends figures for being overpriced. But I I moved out here to Texas like 4 or 5 months ago now, and I had a gigantic collection, and I had that. I talked to Kyle from the Kaiju Cast about this, and he had a museum of a collection. I was lucky enough to go to his house a couple of times in Portland, and he had a war room. It's not a collector's room; it was a war room. Like this guy had these set up. I was jealous of. And this past November, when I was in Japan, we met up a couple of times, and we were talking about this. He's like, "Yeah, dude, I'm getting older. I love this stuff, but you come to a point you don't need all of it. You need just buy the things that really, to quote Marie Kondo, spark joy." And so he's like, "I'm just focusing on my Sofubi. Every once in a while, a very detailed figure will pop up and catch my eye." And that's the approach I've taken. Like I'm looking at what's left of my collection right now, and every piece is either something that has sentimental value to it, or like I ain't ever getting this back, so I can't get rid of it. So, but I'm with you, man. Like, I don't need every Bandai. Let that kid have that Bandai. When I sold my collection off before I moved, 99% of the people that were buying off me from like Facebook Marketplace were parents, and they're buying for their kids. And they don't know. They're like, "I don't know what's a Jet Jaguar. Do you have that?" I'm like, "Yes, I have one." He's like, "Okay, that's what my kid's asking for." I'm like, "How old's your kid?" It's like, "He's 7." I'm like, "How does he know this stuff?" He's like, "We got HBO Max, and that's all he watches all day." I'm like,
"Yeah,
okay,
good kid,
good kid, man, good parent too."
Yeah.
So,
but no, I totally agree, man.
Mm-hmm. It brings me joy to see that this show is actually blowing up like it is. I mean, it is a testament to those Monsterverse films. And, now we can't, you can't disregard, the cultural, lack for better words, penetration, if you will, of -1. Because a lot of people now, that's the Godzilla movie they know. That's the Japanese Godzilla movie. Outside of like, they know what Mothra is, but they can tell you what -1 is because they've all seen it. Because there was nothing else to watch in December of 2023. So I've talked to Jessica about this when we started this podcast back in 2013. It was right after Pacific Rim, and I think the legendary film was, we hadn't gotten the trailer yet, and she's like, "Well, how, what are we going to carry this with?" I'm like, "We'll figure it out. We'll interview some people, maybe we'll review some things, but this is a niche thing." Little did we know how much this thing was going to steamroll in like the 12, I don't know what's it. Yeah, we're 11 years out from Monsterverse, and just I've been ecstatic to see how much it's blown up. Like I've told people all the time, just be grateful for what you have, because I've been through the dark times. The generation before me went through the dark times. So your cup overflow. Yes, your cup overflow. So be grateful that you're getting as much as you're getting. So, but
one day it might not. I'm just saying.
One day, no. It's like an earthquake. It's like a drought. It ebbs and flows. It's not happening now, but one day it will happen. So one day, the general public's gonna be like, "Hey, we're good. We're full. Let's move on to something else," and then this will taper off. It won't ever go away, but it'll die down. And you'll have to wait another 10, 15 years for someone who grew up on those Monsterverse movies to come into Hollywood and be like, "Hey, I grew up on those guys. I want to make a Godzilla movie." And then the cycle will begin anew, if it's done right. But let's talk about Gfest, sir. So big, huge crowd. As you said, the focus this year seemed to be Ultraman centric. How was that all? Tsuburaya was out there in full force. How was that?
Yeah, I would definitely say Ultraman kind of carried a little bit. Obviously, there's cool stuff at Gfest every year, but the
Mm-hmm.
Ultraman presence definitely elevated it a little bit, at least for me. Um, just having an Ultraman room at Gfest with, they had Ultraman Z come out and do a meet and greet on stage.
That's
It's
awesome.
for a long time. Me personally, I felt like the Ultraman coverage at G Fest and other events was the 66 show and Ultra 7, and that's it,
Mm-hmm.
which is completely not what Ultraman is. That's like
No.
cutting off its Son of Godzilla. Like there's so much more. Um, so to see the full embrace, of Ultraman Z and Gyrus and Pigmon and Balton and all these characters people love, going up on stage and just taking a picture with them like it's Disneyland, I think was one of the best things. I think that's one of Subaraya's bread and butter.
It
Like
very it very much
they're
is. They've
so good at that. It's like
I this
like
this is why,
Disneyland.
man, this is why we gotta get you to Japan, because you need to experience some of this. We gotta get you to Kaiju Sakaba. You know, sadly the Kawasaki location is closed, but
Yeah,
the
that
other
one
one in Tokyo is
closed.
still open. The Tokyo one is still cool. Don't get me wrong. It's just smaller. That's the only problem. But on the weekends, they have Bolton. They have Zeton. They have the wide variety of the more alien kaiju running around. And as you're sitting there having a beer, eating, your gyoza, they just come over and Bolton is just, like, and you're like, this is amazing. This is
I love
fantastic. And
it.
this, as you said, this is what Super Ride does best. They do this. I've been saying for years, I'm like, if they brought those stage shows out here as publicity, they would capture the imagination of children, because now it's there, it's real. This is something Toho used
Oh
to do
yeah.
back in the day. They don't do anymore, but Super Ride is still keeping that going. And I'm glad to see that, you know, Super Ride is now, there's a whole story behind it. People can go back to our past episodes and look, the Chayo nonsense, all that stuff, but the fact that they're finally seeming to break through that wall and penetrate the Western culture a lot better, brings me joy, because it's Ultraman's geared towards kids who love Godzilla, and there's
Oh, absolutely.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're like, hey, we got these suits, let's ship them across seas and let's do these stage shows, I'm like, okay, this thing's gonna blow up sooner than later.
And it's cool because at G Fest it was kind of a modest setup where they had the projector screen where they could play clips and backgrounds, and they had their sound. I don't know what it is, like a sound table for lack of a
Mm-hmm.
better term. And then the suits came out of the curtain, walked on stage, and did some stuff. Um, Granted, they're pushing to do more of the Japan style stage show because
Mm-hmm.
they also had the Ultraman update panel at G Fest where Jeff Gomez, DK, and Danny Simon, all the big boys behind Subaraya USA, who were there, which was really cool to see. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they pretty much laid out their plans going into 2026 at G Fest, which is kind of the first time, at least in my experience with G Fest, a major company that does kaiju has done stuff like that. It felt more like a traditional Comic Con experience where they were like, "Hey, Ultraman, what's coming out? Uh, these shows are coming to Blu-ray. These are coming to 4K, and we're doing a stage show in New Jersey, and it will be the closest stage show to our Japanese shows we've ever done in the United States." So I mean, they're all in, and it's so cool. And not to toot the KU horn, but we did drop that exclusive on all those announcements, which was kind of dope. It was
It
really
was,
cool.
man.
It
It
was really
was,
cool.
like I said, like, as a former, as a former writer, a guy who ran a website, seeing you guys get those exclusives, it, like, again, my Grinchian heart, to repeat, it just grew 3 times its size. So I was so proud of you guys. So you're out there breaking news, and not only that, but for me, the biggest news, like it's a weird thing to hear news breaking out of Gfest. Like that show was always like, it's a dealer show. You come out, you hang out with your friends. Like news doesn't break. Like there's fan panels. Jessica and I are up there doing our panel. We bring people to talk, or you get Kevin doing his deep dive panels. Kevin Durndorf. Like you go to his panel and you're like, I'm going to learn some history, and that's kind of. Oh, everyone loves Kevin. Kevin's the best. I got to get him back on the show. That's just stuff I want to talk about. So, but that's what it is. So when I'm on Twitter, I still call it Twitter, and I'm seeing like news out of G. I'm like, news out of G. It's like, wait, did something happen? Like, because something always happens at that hotel. I was there for Kevin Smith's show back in October, and once again, someone pulled the damn fire alarm. Because there was like a prom, like a high school thing going on. So it feels like every year there's some shenanigans that happens at that hotel.
There Chicago.
There always is.
There is.
But physical news, that people are like, oh my God, like, whoa. The big one for me, man, and seeing you guys post about it, was that Mill Creek finally, much like the Spider-Man rights for years that we couldn't get a movie, Mill Creek just cut the bushes down, untangled the string, and we are getting Ultraman Great and Ultraman Powered on Blu-ray for the first time in North America.
I had the same reaction. So yeah, I can talk a little behind the scenes a little bit, not too much, but I knew about that. They actually reached out Wednesday when I landed and said, we want to do this. We've cleared it. We want to give you this exclusive for Saturday. Are you ready? So I knew on Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I had to sit with that knowledge of everything they were going to announce and just be like, oh, you guys don't even know. I love it so much. I was like, oh, really good.
The thrill of the surprise is one thing, but sometimes when you're kind of in on it and like you're part of the little circle and you're like, ooh, I can't wait to tell you, that kind of thing. You do get a little kind of like a thrill off of it. I've been in that position a couple of times. So, but man, Blu-ray, like I can get rid of my really crappy, Malaysian bootleg that I have of Ultraman Towards the Future. I don't have to fork out $190 for the Japanese DVD. I am beyond ecstatic because that's my Ultraman. That's Ultraman amazing. Towards the Future is my Ultraman, and it brings me such joy. I'm like, oh, like I've gotten to do a panel with Dory Krause, Jack Shindo himself, and I like now that like they're embracing. Like I told Jessica, I'm like, we gotta get this dude to Gfest, and he's like, well, I've been before. I'm like, no, we get you now. We get you now. Now that everything's back in.
When that comes out, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because like he did that All Monsters Attack show in 2023, and I had not seen the show and really watched it at that time.
Yeah,
but like I went to the VIP dinner that Jim puts on for the guys he flies out, and everyone flocked to Kitagawa and stuff. So I sat down with Jim. And I had dinner with Dory Krause, which was really interesting because he's just a nice, chill guy. Like, it was cool just to talk to him. It was cool.
He's the best. Quick story. 2 years ago, he came on our Gfest panel or our Comic-Con panel. So this is the post-COVID first year Comic-Con, and Jessica reaches out. She's like, "Hey, so we're going to cover Ultraman." And our friend Hiroshi Kanatani, who's at Comic-Con every year, he tours the U.S. around the time. So he's going to come on the panel. I'm like, cool. Like, Hiroshi, we'll just, bivouac and talk things. She's like, I also got Dory Krause. I'm like, I'm what? She's like, yeah, he's coming on. I'm like, you got Jack Shindo coming on. She's like, yeah. I'm like, Jessica, you're gonna need to sit in front of me because this dude was my Chuck Norris growing up. Besides the Green Ranger, these were the two shows I love, Power Rangers and that Ultraman show, and those were like my heroes I was looking up to. So if I start acting like a fangirl, you take all 101 pounds of you and just knock me stupid if I start acting like, I'm fangirling. What I didn't realize was Hiroshi is the biggest Ultraman fan on the face of the planet. So before the panel, we're in the library, and I was talking to Dory beforehand. And like, again, this dude is the coolest guy in the world. He's a wealth of knowledge too.
Mhm.
Lives a very fascinating life. And Hiroshi comes up, and I'm talking to Dory. I turn around, hey, Hiroshi. He's like, hey, okay, hey. And he speaks English, but his English is very it's conversational at best. And I introduce him like, hey, here's who's going to be on the panel with us. And he's looking at him. And this is a guy that's like in his 50s. He's just kind of staring. He's like, where do I know you? And I turn to like, Dory Hiroshi. He's an artist for Toho and Tsuburaya. He's like, oh, hey. And Hiroshi leans forward and he's looking at me. And I'm like, Ultraman great. And his eyes widen. He's like, Ultraman great? Oh, and he starts doing the whole like double clasp handshake. And I'm like, oh, God, I got to tell Jess, like now she's got to worry about Hiroshi. So we're up on the stage. Jessica and I stand at the podium usually. And Dory's sitting here, and to the side of him is Hiroshi. And Dory's talking, and I lean over a little bit, and I see Hiroshi just like this, like kind of like he's just. It's like that scene in Indiana Jones where they're all like ogling, the girls in the class are just like ogling, and it's like watching this 50-year-old man become 9 years old again. And he was beyond ecstatic. He was beside himself. Like he sat there for 20 minutes outside just talking, and Dory's like, that's cool, man. Thank you. Like, cool. And Hiroshi's like, no, hold on. Comes back, gives him a little sketch and everything. I got a picture with the two of them, and you cannot define the amount of joy that is in this man's face. Again, grown ass man just sitting there, widest smile, Joker-esque, if you will. I'll just meet him, and he's like, I got to go back, but you bring Dory in? I'm like, he just said like, hey, I've never been to Comic-Con. I have this pass. You guys want to walk around? And I felt like Wayne and Garth in Wayne's World when they're backstage with Alice Cooper. It's like, no, hang out with Alice Cooper. Like, okay. I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk around with freaking Ultraman. If you went to 9-year-old me and told me this, I would have punched you and called you a liar. But here I am, like walking Ultraman around. We're talking about fine wine and spelunking. And that's what this guy was like super into. So that's my little side tangent. So back to
that was a good story. That was a great story.
Yeah. So back
I
more.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. No, let's get back to Gfest before I
can spin it back to Gfest.
Okay.
I got you. I felt that way very similarly because I had the opportunity to handle Noboru Kaneko's Q&A at Gfest with Kevin Durandorf. Mm-hmm. SOS was the Godzilla film I watched when I was that age. All the time, religiously. SOS.
It's the best. It's the best.
I love that movie. So the fact that Kevin and I got to sit down and ask him stuff was incredible. He's such a fun guy. He's so fun. He's so positive. He just loves Toku, which is cool. So that was really cool. I felt really bad because we were going over on time, and I could see that the people after us were kind of like, "Are you done?"
Yeah,
in a nice way.
It happens.
Very, but like, I had to be like, "Sorry, we gotta wrap up." I'm sorry, and he was a champ, man. He just went, "Oh, maybe next time I can tell some more stories. I tell a lot of them." So he's cool, man. But like.
See, this is why this is the thing. That's the thing why you guys are there. You got to wrangle these guys and like, okay, let's go find an empty room. Let's go sit down for an hour. Tell me some stories. That's That's your goal. That's what I try. That's what I try to do with Jessica every year, and that's what I'm like. They're here. You get an hour of the panel. Go ahead.
I got something to say.
Okay.
The one thing I was very disappointed in was that our good friend Avery flew out the original kid from the original Gamera, Mr. Uchida-san. He did not get a Q&A session or an interview. I would have moved heaven and earth to interview that guy. I tried. I tried.
Yeah.
The hard part is trying to do that kind of stuff without a translator on your team. You feel me? It's kind of hard.
Yeah. Been there.
But I so wish. And then Carl Craig got announced, so it would have been even cooler to just be like the friends of Gamera together. You know what I mean? Like that's that fan moment right there. But I understand like scheduling and stuff is a thing, but that was my one disappointment. Like Uchida, it's his first North American convention appearance ever. Like give him something. Like
I know
if anyone's listening that has that kind of power, like reach out to me. I'll interview him. I'll film it. I'll give it to you guys. I will do it. Like somebody.
And but, that's the thing. That's what I learned when I was doing the old site and I started doing this. Like there's people you like admire and like I've never heard from this person. Let me see if they'll even sit down. Like I had that moment with Ricardo Delgado. I asked him, like he was the first like pro guest we ever asked on the show. And I just approached him at the LA Comic-Con. He's like, why do you want me to come on your show? I'm like, well, one, you've worked in this industry for like 30 years at this point. You have stories. But the second thing is you worked on what is probably in our circle one of the biggest like urban lores of all time, which is that Jan de Bont movie that never got off the ground. Like you were like the engineer of that whole thing. He's like, oh, yeah, I can tell you stories about that. I'm like, well, would you like to come on? He's like, sure. And he showed up. He's like, well, how long do you guys go? I'm like, well, how long do you have? He's like, I ain't doing anything today. 5 hours later, I'm like, I got to cut this thing up into 2 episodes because this is so long. And then afterwards, he's like, I got a book coming out in like a couple months. Mind if I come back? I'm like, yes, you may. Because we just scratched the surface with you. So that's the thing I love talking about. That's when I was doing press line stuff. I'd run into like voice actors. I'm just like, hey, that's cool. Let's ask 3 questions for your current project. Okay, Steve Blum, when you worked on Guyver, what was good? What was that like? He's like, oh, Guy, holy crap, I haven't talked about that in like 25 years. Like, yeah, it was cool. It was my first paycheck. Well, stuff like that. Like, I ended up talking with 90% of the living cast of Batman the Animated Series. And the one person I got all the time was Andrea Romano, sweetest human being on the face of the planet. I can't say anything. There's not enough positive words to describe Andrea Romano. And she started recognizing me. She's like, hey, how's it going? Because we would do these press lines every like 8 weeks or so. So I'm like, hey, let's give a little quick bit and do business. But then I joked with her. I'm like, I'm eventually going to get your whole life story, one interview at a time. She's like, that's fine. I'm like, okay, so let's, DuckTales. What was that like? She's like, oh, that was a great time. She's like, Alan Young, best person in the world. I'm like, all right. What about, what was it like working on Avatar? She's like, love those guys. Like, and you just go down the line because they're getting asked the same 9 questions by everyone on press lines. And then when you hit them with something a little bit different, they open up. That was John DiMaggio. We were given 30 minutes with John DiMaggio. Like we were at the end of the press line. The guy Gary running the press line. He's like, "Hey man, we're good. The panel's over, so they don't really have to." And he came to John. It's like, "John, you cool?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm having a good time." So what else you guys want to know? I'm like, "Let me ask you about your movie you directed." Okay, what do you want to know? And you just get so much out of them, and you just sit there and you're just like, "This is an amazing moment." Like you did, I don't know if you've had this yet, but every once in a while you get a little imposter syndrome. When you're sitting there interviewing these people, like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I doing this? But you got to learn, like, roll with it.
I I always tell people, like, I've given you this answer too. I always go, I'm just some guy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm some dude in the state of Utah. Like, we do cool
Mm-hmm.
things, but I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a
Yeah.
famous person. I'm just some guy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's all. You know that. But I've definitely done that on the interviewer side of things. My favorite is the Kitagawa story where I asked him about his rock band. That he plays in a rock band in Japan, and nobody knew Godzilla was in a rock band. But I have a video of him in a Facebook group playing the acoustic guitar, and he was playing Hotel California, and I was like, "Yo, Godzilla's playing Hotel California!" Like, and he's like playing. It's not like hit a couple frets. He was playing.
Is he getting
And
that
I'm
deep
like,
solo in that? Is he getting the solo and everything in that song?
It was the opening riff.
Okay.
You know the song. But I wish I heard the solo. That would have been cool. So I was like, hey, dude, like, I go, and the translator we had at the Los Angeles show is really great because she was a Sega voice actress for her main job, and then she just did translation for fun, which is cool. I don't have to get her name or something, but she did Crazy Taxi and a bunch of other stuff. Small world, right? So I lean in and I go, I have a question for Tomu. And she kind of looks at him and she goes, Tomu. And we do these paired interviews at AMALA, so he kind of started dozing off a little bit because the other guy was talking for a while. And he shot up and she asked him about the band, and he just kind of goes, how did you know about that? I was just like, I don't know. And so it turns out, he's in a band called the Old Man Band with a bunch of his friends, and they just play rock and roll.
They're just they're like a gig jam band kind of thing. Playing
guess.
bars in Shinjuku somewhere.
Yeah. So, A, my goal in Japan is to find the Old Man Band. And B, I want to know. I want to find if they recorded anything because I gotta hear it. I'm dying to know. But anyways, like he got a kick out of that. Like that opened him up. Like everyone's like, "Was the suit hot?" or "What's your favorite Godzilla monster?" I was like, "Dude, tell me about your guitar."
Yeah.
And after that, he was like, he treated me like one of the boys. He would like smack my shoulder and laugh and stuff. I was like, "Yeah, okay." But that's all it takes,
That's it. One, it shows, this is the thing I've learned, because I just, I jumped in the deep end right off the bat, like when I was doing this. So I learned the hard way. Sometimes there's questions you don't ask people, or if you're just asking the same repetitive questions, like, so, do your homework a little bit. It helps if you're a fan of the person you're about to talk to, but don't go into the fangirling stuff first. Like, there is an ebb and flow to it. Like, you have to kind of work your way in, start off with a little business, and then get a little personal. And if you can find, especially if you can read people and you hit something, like, okay, just let this flow naturally, and then when you find your opening, get in there. And I found that is that's the honey that captures all the flies, if you will. And after a while, like there's the great Phil Lamar, that we just talked to him at a show one time. We weren't interviewing, we're just BSing. And my buddy's like, "Hey man, like we do this site, like we've been talking for like 20 minutes. Do you mind if we just do like an impromptu interview?" He's like, "Yeah, why not?" And then every time we saw him at a show, he's like, "Guys, I read your site. Hey, when's the next time we're going to talk?" I was like, Phil Lamar wants to talk to us. Like, Phil Lamar, like this is insane. And occasionally when I walk by at a show, he's like, "Hey, Realmcast dude." I'm like, "You remember, man?" Like, he's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Life." He's like, "I know how that feels, man. Stay cool." I'm like, "Thank you, Phil Lamar. Thank you."
It's like the scene in Dodgeball where he's like, "Thank you, Chuck Norris."
Yes, thank you. No, thank you,
That's
Peter.
what I thought of.
Yeah, pretty much it. Like half my little idioms are all from movies anyway. So you know the language I'm talking here.
I
So
get you.
overall a great G Fest.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. Like, it seems like everyone there had a lot of fun. Uh, it was only with our team. It was just Nick and I, which was cool because we
Mm-hmm.
just got to hang out. And really, the only time we worked was like the Tsuburaya stuff. And that was
Mm-hmm.
just the exclusive we had. But otherwise, we just showed up and had fun and just as normal guys. It was really fun last year doing all the crazy coverage and you know huge broad scope stuff. But it was cool this year to just experience it again as an attendee.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think the changes they're making are great changes. Like, did you see the panel room at all? The new panel room?
I saw.
Um,
Yeah, they have a background now, right?
yeah, they got a background. They had lighting.
Mm-hmm.
So those really nice pictures we took um,
Mm-hmm.
for the Ultraman panel, that's the new ballroom.
Oh
That was
wow.
in that ballroom. And then they got the projector screen on the side, and the tech crew, they hired a
Mm-hmm.
new tech crew. They'll project video of the panelists on the screen like, a normal convention. So awesome change. Amazing change. And apparently they filmed the panels. So
Oh,
maybe we'll see it.
that's something that
So yeah.
that's something I've always been like. I'm like, because the only time you see panel shows is like guests who are in the panel filming the panel. Like you can
Mhm.
go on YouTube and there's like like 10 dozen Gfest panels that are up, but I always been like, why aren't you guys recording this? Like, this is how you're going to get people to come to your show because
Yeah.
you show off like you missed
Mhm.
this year, come next year. You could be part of this.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the whole point.
Mhm.
It's something that, as we're going to segue into, always bugs me about Comic Con because Comic Con will film certain panels, and other panels are like, we don't care. Because we got at least 200 panels going on every single day, so
Yeah.
we can't. I'm
There's a
just
lot.
I'm just like, you guys did this for a while. At the very least, like maybe making an option of like, hey, we kind of want to film this. Like if you want to bring in a camera and film it, that's one thing. But like, you guys have the pro stuff, and like half the rooms all have the cameras because some of these rooms are giant, and they need for the screen to show like the panels and stuff. They're already like there. I'm like, just record the dang thing and then release it later. Like you don't have to release it directly after Comic Con. Like a month after, just throw it up. One, get some revenue going off that thing on your YouTube. Like put a YouTube channel up, make a little extra scratch. And two, like this will probably get you more guests that want to come out and be like, it's Comic Con. Do I really want? It's like no, like you can see like, oh no, this is a thing. Like this is the thing to be doing. So, but segue into Comic Con. I know. I think we were flipped in our roles where, you're home now from G Fest. You
Yeah.
had guys, you had members of your team out there though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Nick was out there, and then we actually recruited a local guy named
Mm-hmm.
Jason, and he
Mm-hmm.
kind of helped out a little bit. But this was kind of Nick. Nick did a lot of it. Like all the reels on our Instagram, that was all him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice. Yeah.
yeah, and
That's
I just got to I got to be Oracle and just watch from the sky from the
mm-hmm.
desk, and it was cool being like backup support. Like
Mm-hmm.
if he needed something. But this was really a lot of just those two guys on the floor just doing whatever they want, which is
And
cool.
you've not experienced the San Diego Comic Con yet, have you?
I I tried this year. Um, I'm really hoping to move mountains and go next year. Like I will do whatever it takes
Well,
because
again, if
it
it don't,
looks really fun.
just shoot us, give us a little wink and nudge. You're like, hey, I didn't get in. Like, hey, just come talk. I know people. You know, I know some people. But
Cool.
no. But this year, I mean, look, this is my 30th show. It's like my 31st, 32nd year. Yeah, I've been going since I was 10 years old. Like this show, this is my
Dang.
mecca. This is my pilgrimage I make every year. This year is a little different because it's the first time I have to go out of state to go to this show, because normally it was an hour drive from my home. But now that I'm out here in the great state of Texas, I'm like, oh man, I really got to watch what I'm buying because I can't ship all this stuff back. So like there was I that's a show where I buy a lot of art. Uh, I don't buy as many figures anymore because one, half the stuff ends up on the internet like in a week anyway. But the second thing is that there's not been as much. It's been like, oh, you guys are just you're repainting that SH Monster Arts again. Cool. I'm not spending $195 on that thing. You guys can, yeah, good luck with that. But beyond that, this year, because con post COVID has been a very interesting experience. I mean, the first year back was, we're still in the protocols. So a lot of people were like, I'll wait a year. Then the year after that, they had the writer's strike happen and the actor strike. And that was a very interesting because they happened like 2 weeks before the show. And all these panels, these giant panels, just fell apart. But something that actually saved the show was the fact that they had brought Junji Ito there that year. And they were actually inadvertently they were highlighting some anime and some Japanese stuff, and that seemed to be where everyone shifted their focus. And it felt like this year they're like, oh hey, we can get these people to come out and we can get these companies to really like back us, and there's a huge crowd for this stuff. So they had Demon Slayer in Hall H, and my roommate in my room, not my roommate here, actually got in. I'm like, so did you just walk? He's like, no, I had to be there like 3 panels before. I'm like, for Demon Slayer? He's like, dude, it was standing room only. I'm like, okay, I'm clearly out of touch with the modern Shonen fans.
You are. I was trying to be nice and explain it that way, but
I look, man. I'm an old man. I've embraced my age. I grew up during the age of Bubblegum Crisis and Gunsmith Cats and Guyver. Like that. I mean, my last Shonen series I really cared about was Bleach, and I'm like, all this other stuff. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's for you. God bless you, but also go back, learn your history. That's all I'm asking these kids. I'm like, just learn your history. Know who Kinji Sonoda is. Just that's all I need to know. Do you know who Go Nagai is outside of Cutie Honey? Like that's or Mosninger. Like, have you seen his other works? Just you tell me that, then I can take you a little serious. But that's just the old man snob in me. This year, though, as I was talking to one of the dudes from Creature Bazaar, he's like, this is a Godzilla heavy show. He's like, I'm shocked by how much Godzilla there is here. And even I'm like, yeah, actually, there's quite a bit, dude, considering this is an off year for Godzilla. Toho had their first official panel ever. The Legendary was out in full force with their comic book stuff. Mm-hmm. There was IDWs. Yeah, they were, they were hammering that new series. Which, have you picked it up yet?
I haven't.
Okay.
I on the side end of things, I'm reviewing Dead Zone, which looks really cool and fun. Mm-hmm. One of my other guys reviewed Ongoing #1, but I'm really excited to read it.
I just read issue 1 last night. I just read issue 1 last night, and I'm like, okay, I'm all in on what you get. This is kind of what, and as much as I've been, I'm IDW in the early days were putting out some fun stuff, but it was geared towards like the hardcore fans. Like I love Rulers of Earth, and there were times where they got like these great writers to come in, but they're like they only tangentially know Godzilla. It felt like outside of the Rulers of Earth and maybe Half Century War. Those were like the 2 high points for me for that first IDW run. But this time around, one, they've embraced doing crazier ideas. I'm like, yeah, you're in the comic book form. Like, you don't have any restrictions other than Toho saying you can't do this, but you can go ahead and do that. That's fine. Like, go sick with the ideas. And that's what this new Keisei book, the Ongoing, is like, hey, did you like Final Wars? Yeah? well, guess what? We're doing that, but like as a semi like kind of gritty X-Men like 2000 AD style book. And I'm like, oh yes, you're speaking my language right now. So I am, after reading that first issue, I'm like, oh, I am all in on this. Like much like how I read that first issue of Justice League versus Godzilla, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a blast. This is going to be fun. This is kind of what I want out of life. Or that Thor versus Godzilla book.
Yeah.
You read that, right? Yeah.
That was my favorite of the Marvel versus run so far. Like that was awesome. That was they got it.
Yeah, let's be honest. That was the best one of that one shot run. Like I'm digging.
It was.
I'm looking at the I'm like, okay, the tone's very different. You found the right balance, but man, that Thor book was like this. If I was 9 years old, this is what I would be writing. But it would just sound Jason Aaron's ability to craft a beautiful scene and just giving me badass Thor and Godzilla when they did Godzilla the God Butcher. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but Godzilla the God Butcher. I'm sitting in my car out here reading this. And I'm just like, you get the hell out of here. This is amazing. And then it ends with Godzilla and Thor killing each other and fighting in Valhalla. Like, can't get better than this.
Dude, as soon as I read the announcement, so my friend Haley is the managing editor at KU and is like the diehard Thor fan of the group. Like Walt Simonson, Jason Aaron, she will never. That's her TED talk. Like, read those right now.
Yeah.
So as soon as I saw Jason Aaron writing Godzilla versus Thor, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be fun." But she was like, "Oh my god, who cooked this hard?"
It felt like he was the only one that understood the assignment, as the kids say. You know, he's like, "Look."
Look, I mean, I like Godzilla versus Hulk a lot. I thought they got it pretty good. I just think everyone was disappointed that they didn't, Godzilla versus Hulk, they need to fight. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. No, it felt like Aaron's like, no, let me embrace what this actually is to the nth degree. Like, you brought the hand in. And then you decided, hey, I'm going to take the GMK Godzilla and acknowledge the movie. I'm like, okay, you're not just like some dude. Like, this wasn't just an assignment for you. Like, this is like 10-year-old you came out and just took over middle-aged you and just like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Oh, wait, what else can I do? Oh, yeah, I made this little thing called the All Black the Necro Sword. Let's put Godzilla with that. And like, yeah, Thor, yeah, Mjolnir can smack the crap out of Godzilla. Yeah, that's actually doable. I'm like, oh man, this is golden. But yeah, so IDW was, they were pushing hard. Like their booth, that Keisei Godzilla was all over it. Like just graffitied everywhere. That was their opening signing, was the team behind the books. I believe all of them were there on Wednesday night. That's preview night. There's not a lot going on other than, hey, go get your exclusives now. So either you can throw them up on eBay or you can throw them back in your room and then open them when you get home, because that's how it works at Comic-Con. But the Bandai Godzilla booth was actually a huge step up this year. I was quite surprised by like the amount of effort that was put in. I was a little disappointed they didn't bring the Ultraman stuff like they did last year, because last year you had the Godzilla booth on one end and you had the Ultraman booth on this end, and they brought the costumes for Ultraman last year. So I got my picture with Zero, and I was kind of like, you get, and they're like, no, we're not doing that this year. Like, we're just focusing on Godzilla. And I'm like, guys, missed opportunity. Like, you could have really saturated the market here and really grabbed a new audience, because as there was no Marvel, the biggest panels were maybe Disney with Predator and Alien, and then Tron, and then outside of the South Park guys and Lucas showing up and then ranting and raving for about an hour and a half on the stage of Hall H. Like, I saw clips of that. And I'm like, oh, George, like, and you can see Guillermo del Toro like sitting next to him. He's like, oh crap, he's losing it. Like, okay, let me bring it back in. But yeah, other than that, there was like that Hollywood anchor wasn't there like it normally is. So people were exploring other things. Like TV really picked it up. Like King of the Hill and Smiling Friends were like the big TV deals this year. But just when you're walking the floor, like I was, again, the last 2 years I've noticed, like we're aiming more comic book heavy, and we're looking at other ends of pop culture to really like expand the show. And it really felt like animation, especially anime, was gaining a foothold. And that's why I felt like the Godzilla effect was even bigger this year, because they're like, hey, we could bring people from Japan. Toho's now like dealing with us, like, so we can, let's embrace this. And Super 7, we got to talk about Super 7, because Super 7 probably had the pop-up of pop-ups this year, which was the Godzilla Station pop-up off 8th Street in downtown San Diego. Your guys got in for the press thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we probably bumped into each other without knowing, because once they let us all in, it was like shoulder to shoulder. And if you've never been to Super 7, it's a beautiful store. It's in downtown San Diego, probably the best city in all of California. Very tiny, teeny tiny store.
It looked really small. I was like, wow, they packed all those people in there. That's crazy. But
it is a very, very small store. Like comfortably, it fits like 12 people comfortably. Now they put a Godzilla, like a 6-foot Godzilla figure, like standing at the door, and you walk in. Like they decked it out. They went all, and this is something Super 7 does every year. They'll pick like a property that they have. They started doing it with He-Man back in the day, like maybe about 10 years ago. And it became like an ongoing thing. Last year was Dungeons and Dragons. I think the year before that, they turned it into the Cobra headquarters. So when you walked up, there's a bunch of dudes dressed like Cobra soldiers. They had a guy in a Destro mask, Cobra Commander, like hanging out, like, go in, bye! Like he was doing the Cobra impersonation. And yeah, that's if they usually have a booth inside where they're like revealing what's coming up and a bunch of stuff. They didn't do that this year. They had like a spot and a desk, and they were selling like a Sesame Street like exclusive thing that you could pre-order, but you had to be in the show to order it. And they gave you like a little box. It's like, here's your thing now, and then your other thing will be here in like 2 weeks once we tear down the Godzilla thing and get back to work. But when I rolled up to this, I'm like, whoa, man, you guys put some money into this year, because normally it's like we dress it up, we put like, a little symbol and stuff, but there was a freaking Godzilla head hanging over the entrance, the mural on the side, and then you walk in, they decorate it with the lanterns. They had the figure there, like Toho was. I talked to the people there. They're like, no, Toho was in with us on this one too. They were giving out these things. So this is the thing coins they do every year. They give the entry coins, but this year, man, because usually the entry coins are like these kind of, I'm not saying cheap, but they're economically cut. I'll put it that way. They're kind of like thin, like metal, pressed metal. This is a coin. This is an actual coin. Like this. I don't know if you can. This thing is thick, and it's like a slammer almost from back in the day. And I picked up a couple of these because a second I posted this while I was waiting to get in, I had like 20 people like, dude, can you give me one of those coins? Can I get like, guys, show up. Come on out. Like, I'm not your mule, but turns out I am. I had a lot of friends who are like, I'm not in San Diego, dude. Like, I just want a coin. I'm like, I'll see what I can do. So, yeah, there's a couple of these going on the mail for some friends later this week. But, man, you walk in there, wall to wall to wall, just Godzilla stuff. And I picked up only 2 things because I'm like, these are for reviews, and they were already being passed off to other people. So I don't have them physically here. They're already gone in the hands of who they were meant for, but they're like, you can open them and review. So if you're watching this on our channel, little business, go check out the reviews right now. I got the bike, which was cool as hell. It was a wind up like mixture of like vinyl and the tricycle. It was tin. Like the actual bike was tin. I'm like, wow. And then I picked up the Super Kaiju, which I'm like, okay, that's cool. But they did give us a freebie bag. And I did keep one of the freebie things. I kept one of the fun funds because I've been curious about these things.
Those are cute. Those are cute.
These are very cute. And I was like, you know what? I've been meaning to pick these up. They gave me the bag. I'm like, one of these is in here. That's cool. The Godzilla booth at Bandai, like their two exclusives were that repaint Monster Arts of -1 and that gold Godzilla action figure that's been out in Japan since November. And people were lining up and buying these things left and I'm like, I had to have a moment where I stood back. I'm like, okay, you're the hardcore fan, dude. Like, you got to remember, not everyone lives online. So for these people, this seems like this is the exclusive to get when you could been. This has been available to buy online, and it's been at 3 other shows already. So cool. I watched a woman buy 20 of them. 20 of them in front of me. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, these are $30 a piece. Like, you can go on Walmart.com right now for $21. But
eBay.
Yeah, I don't know. They were giving you a poster when you bought the gold ones, and then if you bought $175 worth, they gave you a gold foil. So I ended up like picking this thing up just to kind of put the order over because also I was kind of curious about this new line. I'm like, oh, I don't have to have my buddy in Japan port this over to me anymore. It's cool, but walking around, it was fun seeing, but the lack of I know you guys have a lot of new stuff coming out, but you didn't bring it with you. So I'm like, cool. The only thing they revealed is that they're doing a 5-inch King Ghidorah that's just a remold of their Bandai. But beyond that, it was like, okay, all right. But seeing the fact there were so many people in Godzilla shirts, I saw Godzilla cosplay, all of that fun stuff, which I was just like, okay, much like Gfest, I'm like, this thing's taken hold. I'm happy to see it, like, really get out there. My good friend Lenny Romero, shout out to him, Len's Asians. Yeah, best guy in the world. He had his exclusive Godzilla book at one of the booths, so he did a cover for the Keisei, and then, God, I had it right here. Oh, we got to talk about. Actually, no, I take that back. There were reveals at the Godzilla booth, but it wasn't in the booth itself.
I was gonna jump in and be like, Chris, you're sleeping on my guys at Haya Toys.
Yes. That's the problem. My mind starts running like the hamster on the wheel.
Oh, it's all good.
Man,
Haya cooked, dude. Haya cooked.
Oh!
I'm throwing the young slang out there, but Haya absolutely cooked.
Jacob, look, I was at the premiere of Godzilla Final Wars as a young 20-year-old man. I love the works of Ryo Kitamura. I've said this before on the show many times. I will defend Final Wars. I will die on the hill for that movie. And one of the aspects of Final Wars, a man of culture. One of the aspects of Final Wars that I love to death is Monster X. Because he's the coolest. The coolest. And not only that, as a dude that grew up on martial arts films, watched early UFC, but mainly watched Pride Fighting Championship in its heyday, and talking to Kitamura about, I'm like, hey man, in that Godzilla movie, I noticed a lot of like MMA. He's like, dude, I love Pride. What do you think I put half the Pride guys in my movie? I'm like, knew it. So watching that, I'm like, oh my god, you gave me Don Fry and Takayama in a giant monster fight, like. Yes. So seeing that Haya Monster X, I'm like, oh, the pre-order. I've already got my money aside for that pre-order. I am hyped. Like I've only gotten to open like 2 of these Haya figures, but they are, not for lack of better terms, they are exquisite. That's why they call them exquisite. They know what they got.
They're pretty cool.
They are very cool. So seeing that Monster X, I'm like, I didn't pick up the SH Monster Arts because everyone that I talked to, like, this is a junk figure. Like, it falls apart. Don't pick it up. I'm like, okay. But now I'm like, oh, Haya's giving me like an action figure of Monster X. Oh, mwah. But the thing that everyone, much like, I'm assuming you got the same feedback we got on our socials once those pictures start going out, the things people were really losing their mind over was that the Monsterverse side of that line, we're getting a Warbat, which I'm still not sure how the articulation in that figure is going to work
How
because
are they
it wasn't.
standing it up? Was it on a
It,
stand?
dude, that it was the base. I mean, it's the hard copy, so it's just a
Yeah,
resin piece. I
yeah.
saw no articulation whatsoever in that thing. So I'm either it's going to be a wire, which I'm assuming because if they're keeping the cost down, it's going to
Probably.
be the wire. But I'm like,
Well, what I
cool.
was
I don't know how
wondering
you guys
is
are going to
like
do this.
I was wondering how they got that thing balanced the way. If I'm thinking of the right monster, I might be blanking right now.
That's the big thing
How
that
is that thing?
fights.
Yeah, how
Yeah,
they got that thing to stand and it's like curled like this. I'm like, how did you
because
maintain that balance?
that's just a resin piece right there. That's what those hard copies are usually. So I have
Yeah.
no idea what that final version's going to, and I'm very curious. But we got that. We got Tiamat coming, which I reached out to Dopo. I'm like, dude, check it out. He's like, oh damn. I'm like, yeah, you have to get another figure. So uh the
Behemoth.
yeah. Oh, the behemoth, man. I just like, I'm like, finally, someone
They
has the
didn't.
balls.
They didn't forget. They didn't
They
forget
didn't
about
forget him.
Behemoth.
They didn't forget him. Like the underdog, if you will, of the Monsterverse, the behemoth. Like the even my brother, who doesn't really like Godzilla, he knows it because of me. Like he's like, when that movie came out, he's like, dude, I gotta go see this with you. I'm like, why? He's like, I saw this monster that just captured my imagination. I'm like, what is it? He's like, is that big woolly mammoth looking thing? I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, he's cool. I'm just waiting for them to like, hey, we got this thing sitting around. Like, why aren't we using it? Like this, I've been saying he's been the Anguirus of the Monsterverse for some time now because he's that you kind of love him. He's got a great design, but he's vastly underused. So I'm waiting for the Kong buddy cop movie that they're going to do with this guy, like Behemoth and Kong teaming up to fight him, because that's what it feels like
Hey,
they're building to.
they are filming. I think they finished, but they were
Mm-hmm.
filming in my home state for about a week in
Mm-hmm.
downtown Moab.
Okay.
That's like 4 hours away from me, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still cool that the
Yeah.
next MonsterVerse movie is being filmed in my backyard.
Yep. It's a little, you got that
It's all
little
desert.
that 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon right there. Hyatt also, they're doing a 95 burning, which it's not painted, but the sculpt looked very
That's
nice.
cool.
We're getting a Tokyo SOS Godzilla. I'm pretty sure that's probably speaking to you a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
We're getting the 2000, not the Godzilla 2000. We're getting a Mega Gearus Godzilla, which I've been finding interesting considering that's kind of the black sheep of the Millennium films, but both Bandai, it seems like once Bandai's like, hey, we're doing this, everyone else is allowed to do it now. So I don't know what's going on, but like all of a sudden I'm like seeing all this Mega Gearus stuff like pop. I'm like, cool, weird. All right. But you know what? I love that movie. So I'm like, I'm not saying no. The stylist, I will I again die on that hill for that movie. I love that movie.
Me too. Yeah.
And the fact we got like the stylist Scar King with the pose where he's got the gem that sits on top of Shimo. I'm like, we're getting into kit busting now with these figures. Like it's insane. Like this and Wonderfest was going on at the same time this weekend as Comic-Con was going on, and X Plus is like, hey, remember that Gamera like plastic kit we're giving you? Guess what? Now we have add-ons. You can buy a sheet of Legion mini of soldiers to add on. I'm looking at that thing. I'm like, I do not have the patience to cut each and every one of these individual little bastards out and paint them. Like, God bless whoever does that, but no. This feels like this is torture. But this is the world we're living in. Like, hey, this thing doesn't move, but we can make them combine somehow like a Megazord. There was also, if I recall, I should have had these ready. Like, what am I doing?
That's cool.
There was one more. Oh yeah, there was one more. There.
There was Tiamat Behemoth. They revealed the Sicilla fully, which is cool. Spider guy.
Oh, the Skilla, yeah. Okay, so yeah, we have Monster X. Burning Godzilla, Behemoth, actually, it's against Mechagodzilla. Okay, so it's that one. Tiamat, Scar King. There's a basic exquisite Scar King coming as well.
There we go.
With 2 different heads, 2 different hands, and the belt, and the Chewbacca belt, as I call it. Warbat. We got the stylist. There's the skillet that's completely painted, but he was announced like last year or so. And then they had the fixed Godzilla 2001 with the fixed head, and it looked a lot better. So those were the big. I remember like I was walking into that show, and all of a sudden Lenny we're talking about sent me a picture. I'm like, oh crap! Or normally they're at the Diamond Previews booth, but Diamond doesn't exist anymore. So I walked over to the weird empty space that was just a couple of. They were just some display cases of like because there was a highest section over there. There's already stuff. I'm like, where the hell are these things? And I walked over there. I'm like, oh, they're right there. Okay, cool. And so those were the big awesome reveals. At that Diamond booth, there was the Star Ace figures that I guess they're releasing over here. But yeah, I feel bad because last year when I was walking through that booth, there was a lot of stuff they were aiming to release, and now it all sits in limbo somewhere, probably sitting on a container in San Pedro because Diamond doesn't exist. And they're like, I don't know. We got 5,000 Godzilla animated, the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla sitting in a crate. They can't go anywhere. Like, I don't know what's going on with this stuff. That's for a toy podcast for another day. The panels. So we had our panel, which thank you to everyone that came out. Actually, it was one of our best attended panels. We nearly had a full house. So nice. If you were there, thank you for coming. The Godzilla panel. Let's talk about this for a second, Jacob.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, all right. So I think we're, I've said before and I'll say it again, fans, we are our own worst enemy sometimes. If you watch wrestling, if you're a wrestling fan, you know this for a fact. Because
don't trust the dirt sheets.
Don't trust the dirt sheets ever. And we all made assumptions this weekend about something that we thought was going to happen. But guess what? Did not happen. So I had my panel, Jessica and I had our panel at 2 p.m. I was at the library, so I wasn't on site. The panel room that was holding the Toho panel is what we call Little Six. There's Big Six and Little Six. Little Six holds maybe like 1,000 people. Big Six holds maybe like 2,500, maybe 3,000 people. It's a big room. And I mean, I was in the Gundam panel the night before, and that thing filled up, packed, just for Gundam Wing. So I already had a feeling like,
that's great.
Oh, the nostalgic joy I got off that thing. My buddy that I was with, he's the biggest Gundam nerd, but like he's not the biggest Gundam Wing fan. But he's like, I understand, man. Like for a lot of people, this is your first Gundam, so this is where the heart lies, as H. Shen told Jack Burton.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got out of that panel and I'm like, I ain't making this thing. So I contacted a few friends. They're like, we're in line. We're here. I'm like, cool. Just let me know what happens because I know I'm not getting in. So they're like, cool. That panel started at 4:15. 5:15, I'm on the floor. I don't hear anything. I'm like, that's weird. Let me look online. And all I saw was people saying, hey, I'm not seeing any panel news. What's going on with the panel? There's nothing going on with the panel. And that's when I'm like, oh no, this was a dud. Oh, there's going to be a lot of pissed off people. And sure enough, you guys were there, right?
Yeah.
Did they get in?
My 2 guys were front row. we were ready. Like, we were ready. So on site, Nick and Jason were front row in the front row seats. Like, there's a shot Nick took of Shinji Higuchi's like name card on the table. Like, that's how close he was. He just went and zoomed in like this on his phone. And so they were ready. And then on the website end, I had a contributor, and we were on standby. So if he texted us and said this, we type it up and run it. You know, we had contingency plans on what would go down. Like we had graphics made for like if they announced a sequel, if it's another thing that we heard. We were like battle station ready.
This is what I love about you guys. You're like CNN and like the ABC News when they were going to take like a weekend break, and they would pre-roll like the president has been shot, like or this celebrity has died. Like they have stuff ready to go once that news breaks, even though there's not. They're like you're trying to predict the future. You're trying to predict the future, and it doesn't happen. So this stuff just gets tossed to the wayside.
Hey,
this is how
we tried.
This is how ready we were. So, for those who don't understand what the hell we're talking about, let me give a little context to this. 3 days before Comic-Con? Maybe it was last Monday. So, Bloomberg. Yeah, so Bloomberg put out an article. And in that article, they're talking about Toho and a bunch of stuff. And they let it slip that, hey, not only is Yamazaki working on his new Godzilla film, but we're, Shinji Higuchi is gearing up to do a sequel to Shin Godzilla. And I went, interesting. You are a reputable news site, but here's the thing. Bloomberg has been wrong in the past, mostly because, working enough press, you understand that sometimes people don't know what this niche things are, and you're playing telephone. And maybe something got said that wasn't supposed to be said. Something was told and you were just interpreting it because you had to do a little research after. But they were saying like, hey, keep your ear out because this might be being announced. And Higuchi is at Comic-Con. Why is Higuchi at Comic-Con? He's got nothing coming out. He's not just showing up to promote the re-release of Shin Godzilla. He's got to be announcing something.
There's no way.
This is an official Toho. This is Comic-Con. This is where you announce this stuff. And much like people thinking Cody Rhodes was going to make his grand return at a Madison Square Garden show, a house show, you know what I'm talking about. No, we worked ourselves up in a tizzy for nothing because it literally was Shinji Higuchi coming out and going, go see Shin Godzilla 4K. Bye, thank you. That was it.
And I said on a live stream a week before Comic-Con, I was that conspiracy theorist, and I was like, there's no way they'd fly him out just for that. There's no way they'd fly him out to just sign stuff and then say, hi, Shin 4K. No way.
That's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did.
We were like battle station ready. Like, I was like, Nick, you text me 2 words, and I will know what's going on, and we will run this. It was a fun panel. Thankfully, Jason, another guy that was helping us but is not on staff, live streamed the panel on Instagram. So I got to watch the panel through his phone and be like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Today.
It was really a nothing burger panel, wasn't it?
I mean, they just kind of highlighted what was going on. And for the people that listen that aren't chronically online, as you put it to me earlier, I think it was good in that regard. You know what I mean? For some of the more hardcore guys that know everything and know what's going down, they might not get much out of it. But for those casual, for the kids going to that panel, oh my god, a comic, oh my gosh, figures, holy crap, it was a licensee showcase, I would say. But
so it was IDW, Mondo, and Super 7 basically represented, if I recall.
Yeah,
looking at the panel, I saw Brian.
And then, go ahead.
Brian Flynn, I want to say Attack Peter, and someone from IDW I saw on the guest list. I was kind of glancing it, and I got lost in the mix of everything else.
So it was Jeff Gordon from Bandai.
Okay.
It was Peter from Attack Peter, Mondo, Brian from Super 7, Jake Williams, the Godzilla editor at IDW. And then it was one of the VFX designers behind Monarch, which is really cool. I think Jessica's actually talked to him when she did like a junket for Monarch. But he kind of broke down like what went into the design philosophy of like the Ion Dragon and what they were thinking, and then they showed a VFX breakdown, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be a great panel in of its own. Behind the VFX of Godzilla, and you get Yamazaki, you get this guy, you get this guy, but it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Monarch wasn't the most loved show, and I'll go to bat for it a little bit. So I
There's
don't
a lot of good in it.
That into it.
Yeah.
But it really truthfully got exciting when O'Shea Jackson Jr. just showed up.
I saw that. I love this guy. Who'd have thought the son of Ice Cube? Like, no, man, I'm all in. I'm in on wrestling, and I'm in on Godzilla. I'm like, dude, I want to hang out with you. Yeah.
But yeah, like
you got stories.
Like they were about to ask the last question to Higuchi, and he got up and interrupted. And obviously it was wrestling kayfabed for his appearance, but it was just a fun surprise for the audience. And then
maybe you can confirm this, but I think someone on that panel might have asked a little something of Higuchi, and just kind of went, I can't say anything because Toho would send a sniper right now. So I think they're
they did. Oh, they knew, dude. They were so self-aware. So what happened was they played the Shin Godzilla 4K trailer, and the moderator from the rap went, "I want to know what happens next." And someone leaned in. I don't know who it was. They went, Toho would shoot us on the spot.
Yeah.
And they all just kind of went, ha! Yeah. But I was kind of like, I stood up.
Okay, so that's saying, look, they're saying it without saying it. Like, yes, there is some truth to what was said in that Bloomberg article. Like, right now we can only speculate, but if you pay attention to stuff enough times, that they're working on something. And look, I'm going to say right now, I doubt it's a direct Shin Godzilla sequel. I think it's Higuchi doing his own thing, which that's what Shin Godzilla originally was supposed to be.
About time. Time.
Yes. Man. And if you know the story, Toho originally wanted Anno, and Anno was like, I am knee deep in Evangelion. So they went to Higuchi, who did those Attack on Titan movies. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then Anno, like always, when he's working on Evangelion, had a mental breakdown. And Higuchi going, hey, man, step away for a minute. Come make Godzilla with me. And Anno, being Anno, is like, let me take over this. Let me do this. And Higuchi's like, yeah, I'll help my friend. But I want to play in the sandbox on my own. And I think that's what we're getting next. Kevin and I have talked about this. Like, it feels like we're in prestige Godzilla time right now, especially in Japan, where they're going for like these big name directors, but like they're kind of going for auteurs. And we were like, who the hell is out there right now? Yeah. So I told him, I'm like, I think Higuchi needs his turn at bat on his own. Like, Anno can still be involved somehow, but like everything we saw with Shin Ultraman, again, all my friends, they love Shin Ultraman. They're like,
I liked it. I dug it.
It's the problem with the other two Shin movies is that, you're just replaying what you loved as a kid. Like, you're doing your version of it, but it's like the Shin Ultraman, Shin Kamen Rider are like Cliff Notes, where Shin Godzilla felt like it is its own thing, even though it kind of falls in that realm.
That's a good point. That's true. But yeah, like, we could sit here and spitball directors for an hour.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, Takashi Miike's right there.
I've been saying
he's directed Ultraman episodes already. Like,
look,
come on.
There's two guys working right now that I have been like, I just want to see Godzilla work from these guys. Miike's one, because I got 90% of Miike's catalog sitting in my closet right now because I just unpacked my DVDs. The other is Kita Amamiya. I've been waiting to see what Kita Amamiya, guy behind Garo, is probably the one thing everyone knows, but like, he is the man has an eye for. I want to see his design on Godzilla, his take, because he makes some amazing. If you watch Mechanical Violator Hokkaido, like I want to see you do this with Godzilla, but he's he's printing money with Garo right now, so I'm like, cool, you do you, man. Like this is your big break, this is your thing. But just kind of give me Godzilla at the very least. Kodakawa, reach out to this guy and have him do Gamera for a minute, like just see what he can conjure. But beyond that, like yeah, there's I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
You got me going on a Gamera
rant. Yeah, I know. But it's good, look, we fans, we build ourselves up over stuff in our own heads. Yes, is there a kernel of truth? Seems like that panel confirmed there's something happening, but like I think realistically, we're not going to hear about it until after Yamazaki's movie is out. So, if knowing how Toho works, they're like, we're not announcing like 3 films back to back. Like, let's get through this first one. Yeah, let's get through this first one first. Yeah,
I had to have that talk with. There's a couple of people I saw -1 that were in the same screening room as me, and after -1 ended, they were still seated, and I just I was really nice about it, but I was like, hey, like. This ain't that kind of movie, kid. Like Harrison Ford, this ain't that kind of movie, kid.
Yeah. There's no post credits.
Great movie, but there's nothing else. Go home.
Yeah. So I got a feeling. Yeah. Yamazaki is. I'm very curious what this next movie is because now the world is looking at him. But the problem is that he has his first American movie lined up to go. So I'm kind of I'm telling people, I'm like, temper your expectations. Yamazaki's probably going to give us a good movie, but if you're expecting the quality of -1, because look, I think we've done everything we can with solo films at the point. Like we're going to have to venture back into the versus like arena just to deliver something else. And I'm kind of like, he gave us the serious Spielbergian Godzilla movie. Like he gave us his 80s Spielberg. Let's lean into Jurassic Park Spielberg now and give us a little more like kind of adventure and fun. And I got a feeling that might be the direction he's going in. So, I mean, if some of the rumors
see it already, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's rumors out there that people are returning. So,
there's Toho.
There's rumors. Yeah, there's rumors. I physically cannot confirm or deny anything, but I've seen things.
I was going to say, I noticed that sense of adventure and tension in the airplane sequence, which was my favorite -1 sequence, where he's just flying, you see all the land, and then, he's dodging Godzilla. Yeah. There it is right there, But at least in Comic-Con terms, it was a pretty standard debut. Was it cool they flew out Shinji Higuchi? Yeah. Awesome.
It was.
That was cool.
It very much was. We got one more thing that was debuted at Comic-Con that we have to talk about. Okay. And that is in the comic book realm. And we're getting toys. Look, I don't know. Part. Again, I call you young whippersnappers, but this is timeless. These characters transgress time, much like Godzilla himself. And I was sitting on a bus heading over to the convention center when my phone exploded of, hey, did you just see this? And IDW, bless their hearts, they will not leave any stone unturned when it comes to crossover books. And they announced TMNT and Godzilla. And I just saw that one picture and I'm like, God damn it, everything I drew in 9th grade, when I was 9 years old, not 9th grade, when I was 9 years old, is coming to life. I drew the Godzilla. I drew the Green Ranger as Godzilla. I drew the Dragon Sword fighting Godzilla. I drew Donatello with Godzilla spikes on him. I was obsessed with my Slash figure because he kind of looked like Godzilla. Like, and look, TMNT I was there, like at the beginning, man. Like that cartoon, like it. Like my cousins and I would play TMNT. We were obsessed. I was there day one for that first movie. I was there day one for the second movie. I was there day one for that really bad third movie. So I like they hold a place in my heart like Voltron does. Like I might not be, it might not be like front and center, but it's like seeing an old friend that you're like, I haven't talked to you in a while, man. Let's get dinner. Let's catch up. I love it. So God bless them because they were doing it. I'm like, wait a minute. Playmates has the Godzilla license. Playmates also makes Turtles. And sure enough, a buddy of mine was in that panel. He's like, oh, did you see this? I'm like, damn it, they're doing the thing. And we're getting toys. We're getting toys of these things. Because again, Playmates likes that dirty money.
Is this the first time we've really had those crossovers go into toy form?
Yeah.
Really toy form? I thought so.
Monogram came the closest. Yeah. Monogram came. I have the Monogram Green Ranger Godzilla form. It's a clip. And I've been sitting here, I'm like, Playmates has Power Rangers now.
They sure do.
They have to be like, they would be leaving money on the table not doing this. You know, McFarlane made the Godzilla and Kong with Batman and Superman, but that's like, all we had to do was make a new Godzilla mold and a new Kong mold. Like, we're just reusing, and it's not like a smash together. Like, we're just packaging. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about like crossover looking characters. Like, they merged. Mm-hmm. Which now I'm like, hey, Hasbro, how about give me Godzilla the God Butcher? Like, you can do it. Make that mold. I'll buy into HasLab.
Let's do a proper Godzilla transformer.
Yes, please. Not a crappy repaint. So this, I was like, everything I drew as 9 is coming to life in some form or another, and a lot of my older friends are like, this is stupid. I'm like, you lack joy. You lack joy in your life. This is
on. Because, dude, I'll be honest, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm not really a Ninja Turtles guy.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I watched the 03 cartoon. So I have a lot of great memories with that 03 revival. So that's my generation's Turtles, which is cool.
Yeah.
And plus that 07 CGI movie I saw in the theater. So those were my Turtles. But I have turtle figures from the 03 show I've had as a kid. But I'm not like, oh my God, Turtles, some of the collectors are. But it's cool to see. It's cool to see. It is like that old friend thing where it's like, okay, yeah, I liked Raphael as a kid, and now he's a kaiju. That's dope.
Yeah, no, man. I think it's a generational thing. Like if you weren't there, it's hard to describe the popularity. Like it was like Beatlemania with the Turtles. Yeah, they toured an album. They toured an album when I was 6 years old. I went and saw them in LA. I'm like, my mom took me and my brother. I'm like, I don't even know what this is. We're just watching the Turtles. Yeah. She's like, they're going to be on Oprah. And I'm like, wow, this is, even as a kid, I'm like, this is a little cringe, but cool, whatever. We had so many of the Playmates toys. Like, they cranked those things out. I had boxes and boxes and boxes filled with turtle toys. Like, Power Rangers was popular. They weren't Ninja Turtles popular, man. Like, they were the Beatles of, like, toy lines. Like, it's very hard to describe if you weren't there. Like, just, like, because we had a monoculture at one point. Now everything's fractured. But these things captured the imagination of boys and girls alike. Like, that cartoon for a good 5 years dominated everything. Nothing could touch it. Like, even at the heights of, like, Batman and X-Men, they weren't Ninja Turtles. Like that was something very special. And that's part of the reason why I've kind of grown with them, and I understand like you have to change for a new generation. I didn't watch Rise of TMNT because I'm like, all right, this is for the weeb crowd. That's cool. I did love that 2012 Nick show. Like that one was like, oh, you're doing wow. I was turned off by the designs, but I'm like, you guys are mixing the comics and the cartoons. Like, I am all in on what you're doing here. This is amazing. So for me, yes, it's a big deal. I can understand for a lot of the people that are like, it's Ninja Turtles. I'm like, you don't know.
It's Ninja Turtles.
You weren't there. It's Ninja Turtles, man.
Flip that sentence.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was my thing of like, I was kind of like, I can't wait to buy this. Like, okay, man, you guys are getting me back into the comic store very hard. So
yeah, me too. I've never bought as many comics as I have now with all this Godzilla stuff. Like, I've always kind of been like, yeah, I like Marvel, and I'll read Werewolf by Night and Bronze Age, and Now I'm like, I have to go every week and pick everything up that's kaiju.
Yeah,
A, for the science, but B, I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up the comic book. I had to pick up some like backers. I'm like, I don't have cash. Like, well, you got to buy $10. I'm like, oh, the Keisei book's out. Oh, it's only $5. What else? That comic book. Okay, that'll put me over. So I started flipping through that Kong because I actually like that Kong. It's not an anime. It's that Kong animated series. I actually liked it quite a bit.
Dude, that comic is being slept on. It's written by Simon Furman, which is crazy. Yes. I was like,
Mr. Transformers. Mr. Transformers. Yeah.
See, that's where you can get me excited. I read the name Simon Furman and I was like, what?
Yeah, don't you know he made Grimlock King? He made Grimlock King, damn it. So yes, so I say it every show. I repeat myself. I'm like a broken, but our cup doth overflow, man. It's a great time. Like again, and not only that, but like to just real quick, Wonder Festival summer was happening while Comic-Con was going on, and while the winter show that was back in February was like, oh my god, there's just so much. This time it's like, hey man, it's hot. We don't want to bring a lot of stuff, but we got a couple of cool things to show you. They unveiled some of those new Digimon Defil Reels, which I'm like, I kind of messed with Digimon a little bit. I'm kind of digging these things. Like, I was there at Godzilla Fest when I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You're doing this? Felt like it was a no-brainer, but like, okay, I'm going to probably buy some of this nonsense.
Here we go.
But X Plus,
man, they're going to stop, dude. They're not going to stop with these crossovers.
No, they're not. X Plus got my money, though, because they finally released something that's only been done in kits. And again, I showed Lenny, and Lenny's like, I don't know where I'm going to put this, but they're giving us the landing flying iris in X Plus form. And I'm like, oh, I don't have room. But I got to buy it, man. Like, I barely got room for the ride X Plus that I have. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to put you, but I am not sleeping on this one because I know this is going to be, if I don't get it now, it's going to be like an $800, $900 figure in like 2 years because everyone's going to want this thing.
Just wait till they do the ride Mechagodzilla because you know.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for the ride. I'm waiting for the ride King Ghidorah too. But by the way, let's talk about that ride. That's the last bit of news we really have to talk about. Did you see the footage?
I did.
What'd you think?
It's really Monsterverse. It's very heavily Monsterverse in like the overall. I think very inspired by it because Yamazaki is pretty open about that. He's like, yeah, Monsterverse is pretty cool, which is kind of based on it. But yeah, it looks cool. I really like the section that was teased on like the key art when it was first announced of like Godzilla chasing after the boat. That's my favorite part. I kind of wish that was the whole ride, but I'm glad it is another Mechagodzilla grabs Godzilla, throws him in the building. But it looks cool, man. I'm excited.
This is why we got to get you out to Japan because we need to get you on a train, take a 45-minute ride, transferring 4 goddamn trains to Sibun, the Knott's Berry Farm of Japan, as I affectionately refer to, because that's kind of what it is. It's old timey, and it's a lot of Kimba and Astro Boy rides. But I've covered it on the show. But my buddy Kazuki took me out there, and we rode that Godzilla ride 7 times in a row. And then we did Ultraman first, but I didn't make it to like ride it over again. By the time I got there, it's like last show, get in there. Like, oh, this is cool. But that Godzilla ride. Dude, you Fred Flintstone down Godzilla's back off his tail. And I'm not going to lie, man. Like, I got a little emotional on this ride. Even my buddy Kazuki's like, you okay? I'm like, this is everything I dreamed of as a child. Like, Yamazaki, this is the beauty. I don't think people understand about the genius of this man. He can give you a great melodrama. And at the same time, he also knows what's fun. He's like, I'm making a motion ride. What can we do to really make the experience? Oh, hey. Yeah. I'm going to make the Jeep thing you're in, like, have parachutes. Ghidorah's going to pick you up. You're going to fly in Ghidorah's mouth. You see the fangs come down. And then you're going to land on Godzilla's back and just haul ass off his tail. And you guys are going to avoid Godzilla and Ghidorah like fighting each other. It's spectacular. And because it's like a motion ride, you're like soaring California. You're just like all over the place. And the second we finish, Kazuya, like, "Are we going again?" I'm like, "You bet your ass we're going again. We're going like." But to the point, the poor girl that was in charge, she's like, "Again?" I'm like, "Uh huh." And here's the thing, like, here's the thing, Kyle or Jacob. Here's the thing, a little Freudian slip there. So when you go in, there's something they don't show you in the footage. There's a pre-show. So you line up in this room, and there's an actor that comes out and acts his ass off. And Kazuki and I were the only two dudes, and he's like, "Hey, like, it's just you guys." Like, no, he acted like he was acting in front of 20,000 people in front of Budokan. Did not break character, gave it his all, and I'm like, God bless you, Japanese people. You don't half-ass anything. You go all in. And we went so many times, the guy had to take a break, and we got a new actor. It was a girl that came out, and she did the same thing. There was only like 4 of us. Like 2 other people joined us on this ride, and she's doing the same thing. I'm like, I love this. The thing is, when they did the Ultraman one, because that was the second ride, they upgraded the pre-show, and the guy comes down in the SSSP uniform, and the projection system in the room is much more elaborate. So I'm very curious to see what this new like lineup is. I'm already plotting my return next year. So I told my buddy, I'm like, hey, we're gonna do this what we're calling our Grand Ramen Tour. But I'm like, we're gonna be in Tokyo for like 2 or 3 days for Godzilla, and we're going to Shiba. And we're going to go ride this ride. And just know, like, you're going to fork out $30 and you're going to join me because we're going to go ride this thing. Because I can't wait. Because the first one is so damn incredible that I am salivating to wait to see what Yamazaki did for this one. So, and if it's any indication, after watching, because I watched -1 first, then went on this ride, I'm like, oh, you were just practicing for -1. That's what this ride was. Practice.
It was the audition tape. That's what I've been saying.
That's what I'm looking at. This one. This is. Oh, you're getting some tweaks in for whatever you're cooking with this next movie. So I'm quite excited to see what's happening. Like, I got a feeling November we're gonna get the official announcement, and then next November 2026 is when -2 or whatever the hell we're gonna call it is gonna come out. And again, it's gonna be like last year, March 2027, Godzilla and Kong 3. There's probably going to be another Japanese Godzilla movie like 3 months before that. Like, we're just going to be like pigs in slop. Like, it's just going to be too much. So, all right. Well, we're pushing 2 hours. I think this is about a good time, if not to wrap up. Jacob, thank you again for coming on, man. I am proud to have you on here. I am proud to see you guys get as far as you have. You're doing the Lord's work, as my grandmother would say. Tell the good people that are listening at home, where can they find more of you and Kaiju United at?
Sweet. Thank you for all the kind words right there, Chris. It's really amazing. And it was so fun being on here because I've listened to you guys forever. And we talk at cons and stuff. But I think this is the first time you and me, besides like late night fun combos, that we've done something like this. So it was really cool.
Yeah. So it's we'll do it again. Like this cool. This was too. I waited too long to get you on here. I've been meaning to get you on here sooner, but life is life.
But yeah, in terms of where to find us, every social media possible, we've got the name covered. Instagram is our bread and butter, because we got 11.9K. We're almost going to hit 12, which is cool. The website is the main meat of what we do, kaijuunited.com. Lots of great reviews, interviews, stuff. We got a busy weekend coming up. On the day we recorded this, we just dropped a 10-year anniversary review of the live-action Attack on Titan movies, written by a guy that thinks they are some of the greatest tokusatsu productions in the world. So
I'm not in disagreement. I actually like these movies quite a bit.
But that's what we're about. Talk about what we love. Got reviews coming out. couple interviews in the pipeline. But give us a follow on any social. We're really, really easy to reach out to. We're really easy to talk to. And visit the site, and hopefully we'll see you at some shows next year.
Are you doing anything at FanX or was it? Is it FanX?
Yeah,
at Salt Lake.
Something
cooking for that?
Yeah, I actually got approved for Gamera 60 Years of the Kaiju Genre's Underdog. So
excellent. So yes, if you're going to be out there in Salt Lake City for FanX, go see this good man. He knows what he's talking about. Check out that panel.
Talk Turtle. Cool.
So on that note, if you're listening to us online, you can find us on our socials on Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, wherever you want to call it now. Instagram and X are at the Kaiju Kingdom. We're at facebook.com/the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. And hopefully, if you're listening to this online, you found us on Spotify. We're also on Apple or wherever else you find better podcasts. And be sure to check out our sister show, which is coming back very soon, Common Kaisers. I talked to my good buddy Arian while we were in San Diego. He's like, hey, man, I'm falling behind. I'm like, I know. He's like, we got 8 movies we got to get done. I'm like, I know. So our next film we will be reviewing will be Shinji Higuchi's Bullet Train Explosion, which, spoilers, it's fantastic. And on that note, that will do it for this edition of the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. For myself and Jacob.
Me.
Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.